Last week, the Frontier Observatory for Research in Geothermal Energy issued a solicitation for research activities that will promote enhanced geothermal system development. The purpose of today's webinar is to review the requirements for submitting proposals. My name is Joe Moore, and I serve as the project manager of Forge. I will start the discussion and then turn the presentation over to Stuart Simmons, who will review the solicitation in detail. The scene you are looking at was taken during the drilling of 5832, a 7,536-foot well drilled to demonstrate the geologic conditions required for EGS development are present at the Forge site. All of the data from this well can be downloaded from the Geothermal Data Repository. We have a full agenda that addresses all of the proposal requirements. We will begin with a short discussion of Utah Forge, accessing the solicitation, and descriptions of the research topics. This will be followed by a review of cost sharing, eligibility, and compliance criteria. We will then discuss requirements for submitting the initial concept paper and your full proposal. All technical and financial aspects of the research, including proposal submission and review, will be managed by the University of Utah. The proposals will be submitted through InfoReady, a program widely used at universities throughout the country. Some of the requirements you are familiar with on your DOE projects may be different. It may be easier to follow the webinar if you have a copy of the solicitation in front of you for reference as we go through the presentation. Forge is a research laboratory where technologies for the characterization, creation, sustainability, and monitoring of EGS reservoirs can be developed and tested. It was never envisioned as a laboratory where electricity would be generated. There are 6 major objectives. These are to develop and test EGS tools and technologies, understand fluid flow, heat transfer, and EGS sustainability, provide for rapid dissemination of data, provide a pathway for reproducible EGS development, reduce uncertainty for commercial development, and provide educational opportunities at all levels. 3 wells have been drilled at the Forge site. 5832 was drilled to 7,536 feet and encountered a temperature of 200 C. Injection tests were conducted in 2017 and 2019 to determine in situ stress conditions and rock characteristics. A full suite of logs and data from the drilling and tests are available on the Geothermal Data Repository. In particular, review the Phase 2C topical report. 5832 penetrated more than 4,000 feet of granitic rocks, which will host the Forge Reservoir and are exposed in the mineral mountains seen in the background. 6832 was drilled to 1,000 feet. A geophone and accelerometer were deployed in it. 7832 was drilled to 3,280 feet. It contains a DAS cable cemented into the annulus of the production casing. During the 2019 tests of 5832, seismicity was monitored using the DAS cable and a 12-level geophone string in 7832, the instruments in 6832, and the existing surface network. These data are available. While you will find the information we present today useful, be assured there are no particular advantages or disadvantages to the application evaluation process with respect to participating and viewing this presentation. Your participation is completely voluntary. Before I turn this presentation over to Stuart, We understand that the solicitation is a long document and that questions will arise. As you work on your proposal, keep in mind the deadline for submission of the concept paper is 2 p.m. Mountain Time on May 27th. We will address all questions and post the answers on InfoReady. You will receive your encouragement or discouragement notification decision on June 15th.
My name is Stuart Simmons, and I'll be following Joe Moore's introduction to the Utah Forge solicitation. All applicants are strongly encouraged to carefully read the Forge Solicitation 2020-1 document and adhere to the stated submission requirements. This presentation summarizes the contents of the solicitation document. If there are any inconsistencies between the solicitation document and this presentation, or statements from Utah Forge personnel, the solicitation is the controlling document, and applicants should rely on the solicitation language. All questions related to the solicitation should be submitted to Utah Forge solicitations@utah.edu. Answers to these questions will be posted within 5 business days, and these will be posted on the InfoReady Exchange. All information about the Utah Forge project can be accessed through the website. This is the home page, and I will walk you through the links that allow you to access the solicitation documents. From the menu bar, click on R&D Opportunities and go down to Solicitations. Click on that link. That'll take you to this web page here. Scroll down, and beneath the table of topic areas, where in blue it says Apply Here, click on the link to go directly to the InfoReady Exchange and the Utah Forge solicitation. Alternatively, you can find another link taking you to the same site at the bottom of that same web page, and you can click there instead. This is the InfoReady Exchange, where the Utah Forge solicitation is hosted. Over here on the right is where all the documents for the solicitation can be found. You can download them directly from these links. That PDF button does not function, so please ignore it. This is also the Exchange site where you will upload and apply for the concept paper and also submit your main application. For background, the Utah Forge site lies in a deep asymmetrical basin floored by granitic basement that hosts the EGS reservoir. This site has undergone significant characterization and testing, and data have been collected on fracture orientations, subsurface stress gradients, permeabilities, temperatures, rock types, and fracture distributions. The maps show the geological plan in the top view and the geological cross-section from northwest to southeast in the bottom view. Some of the key data sets and interpretations covering geoscientific characterization, well logs, reservoir stimulations, and detection of microseismicity and numerical simulations are found in the following documents and websites: the Phase 2B Topical Report, the Phase 2C Topical Report, and the Utah Geological Survey Miscellaneous Publication 169. Separately, EERE and the Geothermal Technologies Office is soliciting well owners or operators with idle wells that are willing to partner with DOE to advance and test EGS technologies in situ. The objective of the pilot topic area of the Wells of Opportunity FOA is to select, prepare, permit, and repair idle wells for early stage technology and methodology testing prior to or in lieu of testing in the Utah Forge wells. This is the summary slide for the topic areas. There are 5 topics. The potential funding and the potential number of awards are summarized here. I will go through each of these one by one and refer to the specific areas of interest. The first topic deals with devices suitable for sectional or zonal isolation along both cased and open hole wellbores under geothermal conditions. Areas of interest include, but are not limited to, development of a field scale device, system, or process that can isolate specific intervals along the wellbore for long-term injection and production, and initial and full operation under in situ pressure, temperature, and flow conditions. Also, external casing isolation devices or systems, in addition to wellbore cements that support zonal isolation in EGS environments. Topic area 2 covers estimation of stress parameters. The areas of interest include, but are not limited to, 1. Characterization of the 3D in situ stress state in the Utah Forge reservoir, including variations in principal stress orientations and magnitudes with depth. 2. Analysis of existing data and contributing to the development of protocols for the next phase of stress characterization performed at Utah Forge. 3. Utilizing combinations of a wide range of tools to characterize the 3D in situ stress state in the Utah Forge reservoir. 4. Quantification of stress heterogeneity and associated impact on fracturing processes. Topic area 3. Field scale characterization of reservoir stimulation and evolution over time, including thermal, hydrological, mechanical, and chemical effects. The areas of interest include, but are not limited to, monitoring the growth of the stimulated volume using broadband seismic, strain, or other geophysical techniques, including acquisition with downhole and/or surface instruments. Second, evaluating the relationship between seismic aseismic deformation and changes in reservoir permeability. Third, assessing porothermo-hydromechanical properties controlling the source characteristics and frequency magnitude distribution of induced seismicity. 4. Understanding of THMC properties as they impact reservoir performance. 5. Utilization of natural and introduced tracers, geochemical monitoring, remote sensing, geophysical imaging, and their integration to evaluate reservoir stimulation, growth, and temporal evolution. And 6. Monitoring, acquisition, and interpretation of new and existing distributed acoustic sensor data. Topic area 4. This covers stimulation and configuration of the wells at Utah Forge. The area of interest is focused on an innovative implementation of current technologies or development of new technologies for reservoir stimulation at Utah Forge that must, 1, consider the optimized placement of the future production well in respect to the geometry of the stimulated reservoir and sustained heat transfer, and 2, address operational or engineering methods to overcome or mitigate impacts of stress heterogeneity, anisotropy, and stress shadowing as part of the stimulation approach. Topic area 5 covers integrated experimental and modeling studies of the interactions among THMC processes. Areas of interest include, but are not limited to, measurement of physical and mechanical properties and their anisotropy relevant to modeling the response of the EGS rock mass. Second, evolution of the unperturbed reservoir and response to stimulation and heat extraction over time. And 3, integrated laboratory modeling work. That includes A, Permeability changes along a shear fracture and subsequent temporal evolution due to physical and geochemical processes at EGS conditions. B, studies of the frictional deformational behavior of faults and natural fractures relevant to forge reservoir conditions. C, time dependence of poroelastic response of fractured and unfractured media. And D, produced water chemical changes that could be indicative of changes in reservoir properties and flow paths over time. Up to $46 million will be awarded. These will spread over 18 awards. The funding agreements will be University of Utah subaward agreements. The period of performance will be up to 36 months. They will include periodic evaluation. For-profit institutions have a 20% cost share requirement, and this is waived for nonprofit entities. Eligibility. U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents are eligible, as are for-profit entities, educational institutions, and nonprofits that are incorporated in a state or a territory of the United States. In addition, state, local, and tribal government entities are eligible, as are DOE federally funded research and development centers. Non-DOE FFRDCs and non-DOE government-operated, government-owned entities are eligible to apply for funding as a subrecipient, but are not eligible to apply as a prime recipient. NETL is not eligible for award under this announcement and may not be proposed as a team member on another entity's application. For information about incorporated and unincorporated consortia, see the guidelines in Solicitation 2020-1. Foreign entities are not eligible to apply for funding as a prime recipient, but they may receive funding as a subrecipient if 100% of the work is performed in the United States. The cost share must be at least 20% of the total allowable costs for any prime recipient or subrecipient who is a for-profit institution. The cost share requirement has been waived for any prime recipient and or subrecipient who is a domestic institution of higher education, a national laboratory, FFRDC, or a domestic nonprofit organization. For further information about cost sharing, see the Solicitation 2020-1 document. That includes coverage of cost share types and other obligations that are required. Compliance criteria. Concept papers and full applications must meet all compliance criteria listed in the Solicitation 2020-1 document, or they will be considered non-compliant. University of Utah will not review or consider non-compliant submissions, including concept papers or full applications that were 1, not submitted through InfoReady Exchange, 2, submitted after the applicable deadline, and or 3, submitted incomplete. University of Utah will not extend the submission deadline for applicants that fail to submit required information due to server connection congestion. The application process requires a concept paper and a full application. The prime recipient may submit multiple concept papers, but only one full application for each topic area of this solicitation. Only applicants who have submitted an eligible concept paper will be eligible to submit a full application. University of Utah will not review or consider submissions that do not meet the eligibility requirements. All submissions must conform to the form and content requirements, including maximum page lengths, and must be submitted via InfoReady Exchange. The concept paper must be submitted by 2 p.m. Mountain Time May 27th, 2020. The application forms, instructions, and the documents are available from the InfoReady exchange. All applicants must submit a concept paper. Each concept paper must be limited to a single topic area. Failure to include the required content could result in the concept paper receiving a discouraged determination, or the concept paper could be found to be ineligible. Concept papers must include cover page, technical description, project team qualifications, site needs questionnaire, and a budget concept. See the solicitation document for details. The University of Utah provides applicants with an encouraged or discouraged notification, and it may include general comments provided from reviewers. Concept papers will be reviewed for administrative compliance and technical or scientific soundness. Only those submissions meeting administrative compliance will be considered for technical review. There are two criteria for technical review. One, impact of the proposed technology relative to the state of the art. Two, overall scientific and technical merit. Applicants must submit a full application that is limited to a single topic area. Full applications must include a technical volume, SOPO, project management plan, budgets and budget narratives for the prime recipient and subrecipients, cost share commitment letter, summary for public release, a disclosure of lobbying activities if applicable, NEPA environmental impact questionnaire, and site needs questionnaire. Details are documented in the Solicitation 2020-1 document, which again is available from the InfoReady Exchange site. The full application must be submitted by 2 p.m. Mountain Time, August 10th, 2020. Full applications will be reviewed for compliance, relevancy and risk to Utah Forge, and technical merit. Compliance includes checking the eligibility, that the applicant and PI names are unchanged from the concept paper, that the application is complete, and all mandatory information is supplied. Relevancy and risk to Utah Forge comprises an assessment made by the Utah Forge team, who are the most knowledgeable of the site characteristics, status, and needs. They will supplement the independent R&D merit review, be based on the criteria shown in the next slide, and ranked high, medium, or low. The results of this review may be considered in the selection process and in recommending where proposed research should take place. For example, certain types of proposed research projects may be more appropriate to be formed in the Wells of Opportunity, FOA, rather than Utah Forge itself. The relevancy and risk to Utah Forge criteria include relevancy of the proposed research to the Utah Forge site. 2, risk of the proposed research to the Utah Forge site infrastructure. 3, potential reward of the proposed research relative to impacting Utah Forge site infrastructure. Each application will be evaluated and scored for technical merit by a panel of external independent reviewers. All applications will be point scored and ranked. So for R&D merit review, there are 3 criteria. 1, advances the state of scientific knowledge and understanding and addresses critical EGS technical challenges. 2, technical quality of the proposed R&D project. And 3, applicant team capabilities and experience. This is a summary of the criteria for both the concept papers and the full applications and their weightings that are used for the full scoring. There may be other selection factors. This is left to the prerogative of the selection official that may consider the following itemized list of various aspects for consideration. You need to register and create an account on InfoReady Exchange to submit an application. Fill in all the appropriate information cells, follow the guidelines and instructions, complete and submit the concept paper, and before doing so, make certain you have a DUNS number and a SAM number, because these are both required for submission of the concept paper. Reminders. Applicants should not wait until the last minute to begin the submission process. University of Utah will not extend the submission deadline for applicants that fail to submit required information and documents due to server connection congestion. Applications must be submitted through InfoReady Exchange. All questions related to the solicitation should be submitted to Utah Forge Solicitations at utah.edu, and the answers to these questions will be posted within 5 days on the InfoReady Exchange webpage. For any further information about Utah Forge, please see the website.